Dumelang and welcome back to yet another sizzling episode of WeStart2022 Stronger. Yay! I need to go to this episode. They help you build your financial muscle. You know, we give you the tools. You know, every time we speak about money, we get like this anxiety, or we shy away, or we silence because we don't want to talk about amachankura. But these episodes, they will help you get the tools. I've got my distinguished guests, the VIPs. The Oxford English. My guests. Hello everyone, how are you? Hello. I can see I've got two new people. Hey guys, I'm sweet like honey, so I always get new people. Can you please introduce yourself? Tell me who you are, where you come from, you know, how many cats do you have?
Hello everyone, my name is Linda Mjali. I'm a 37-year-old from Soweto, Protea clan. I don't have a cat.
Oh.
I have a puppy, a Jack Russell, and a 9-year-old boy.
Oh. But do you have insurance?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Temba Shabalala, from Protea, Soweto. I love life, I love sports, I love everything, I love people. But most of all, I love my dogs. I've got 2 large pur bulls that I have. So those are my pets. I don't have a Jack Russell.
You don't have a Jack Russell? And then I've got my loyal experts. You know, I know your love is very deep for me. Can you tell people your name? Like, I want people who just joined us on the 3rd episode, the latecomers.
Hi guys, my name is Kay Khadebe. I'm an engineer, but I also make YouTube videos helping young people learn how to make money online, increase their revenue. So yeah, that's me. Happy to be back.
Welcome back.
Okay, and my name is Gerald Mwandiambira. I'm a father and I'm a husband, and that's my expertise. No, I'm just kidding. I'm also a certified financial planning professional. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an author, and a financial educator. I'm here to basically try and, you know, kill all those anxieties you're talking about when it comes to money.
I need you in my life.
And you need me in your life, that's great. And I don't have any pets.
You don't have any pets, but I'm sure you have a calculator somewhere.
No.
That's a definite. Yes. Babes, corporate.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Snazo Kalako and I head up the complaints department at Metropolitan. I'm also a mom, but here on this table you can call me your favorite corporate bae.
Yes,
okay.
I love that. I love that. Guys, before we get into everything, I need to know good. There is, okay, Temba, Lindy, we've got chefs. You understand? Sipete chef Linswi, chef PT. Introducing, but just please. Hi.
Hello, my darling.
You always come this side, and I don't know. I don't go all the time.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? I'm very good, thank you. My name is Chef Linswi, and I'll be a chef this afternoon. I used to be a banker, and now I live in a kitchen. So these chats for me are really inspiring to tap into my old world that I still use today. And also, like, you know, I'm also an entrepreneur, so I get so much from you guys about how to use our finances, how to actually plan ahead, because, you know, being an entrepreneur and also being self-employed, the money doesn't come in as regularly as like when you work a 9 to 5. So investment for me is very, very important. You know, I used to work for investment firms, so I understand the power of compounding. I understand the power and idea and thinking of later on, I need to like reap something good, you know, but I can bore you. I'm not. Let me cook.
Okay, guys, let's just get into it. Ne? Today we are talking about sum in short, getting out what you put in. So we want people to know at home, you know, getting out what you put in. We want the difference between investment, savings, you understand, insurance. People don't know the difference. So that is why I have you guys, so that you're able to break it down for the people. What is the difference between insurance, savings, and investment?
Okay, so I think to start off with, we have to realize, remember we spoke that when you have a policy, there's different personalities who are involved. There's the policy holder, the owner, the payer, who's the person who's paying in, and sometimes it's either the insured or assured person. Insured, something might happen, assured, it definitely will happen. So the sum assured is the guaranteed amount you're going to get. You're assured it's happening, okay? So often you get the sum assured on a funeral policy or on a life insurance policy, okay? It's not even life insurance technically is incorrect, it's life assurance policy, okay? Now, there's also what they call is sum insured. Sum insured is not guaranteed. Sum insured is basically if I have a car and it's worth 250,000, if I have an accident, I will get 250,000.
Yeah.
But if I drive that car for 40 years
And
and
nothing
I never
happens.
have an accident, I will never receive that money. However, with an assurance policy, if I live and I die, and that policy is in force, remember it's in force because I'm paying the premium, I will definitely be assured of that amount. Now, problem with most people is that we confuse insurance policies with investments. Remember, an insurance policy is an investment in yourself because we did the calculation the other day that, you know, you'll never put in more than you receive from the policy. Okay? So, but an investment is something that grows over time. So an assured amount is based on your premium. As long as you pay that premium and that number is on your policy, you're going to get that amount. The investment, however, has a maturity value. So my investments, they mature. So when you hear someone now saying it's going to mature, that's when you're talking maturity value. How old are you again, Kay?
Me, I'm 30.
Kay is 30. When do you want to retire? At 65 or 55?
55.
55, that's
Yes.
a good age to retire. I normally tell my clients 55, not 65. 65 is late in life, but okay, let's say you want 55. She's got 20 years till retirement, which means that there's 240 months.
There comes the calculator.
So there's 240 months. And let's say Kay wants to invest 500 Rand a month for the next 240 months. And she gets a nice percentage from Metropolitan. She wants 11%. It means that Kay is going to put in 500 Rand for the next 240 months, and your maturity value will be 441,254 Rand
At the end.
at the end.
Okay.
Maturity is at the end. But if in 10 years' time she comes and says, no, I want my money, life has happened, is she going to get 240,000?
No.
No. She's going to get 110,988. So often, when you take out an investment policy, they give you a maturity value as an illustrative amount. It's an illustration. If you stick it out, this is how much you'll get. But if you come early, you won't get that. And sometimes there's even penalties. So it's less than that. So remember that, because often with life insurance policies, it's guaranteed. Guaranteed. I take out my life insurance policy, 5 million Rand. God forbid something happens to me in 2 months, my family gets 5 million Rand. So these are the important things we need to start unpacking and understanding that, you know, when we confuse maturity value with sum insured or sum assured, we start having problems because people come to Toy at your office saying, hey, the paper says 240,000, how come I'm getting less?
Actually, that's it's interesting that you mentioned that, because some of the queries that we do get on our end is, one of them is a client would have taken out a policy in 1991, and you know, it was a measly at the time, maybe 10 Rand or whatever the case, but now it's been so long. They come back to us, this policy is for 5,000, I've paid 6,000 in premiums. And they say that's not fair. So that's when we have to go back to the principle of insurance as a whole, that yes, now they've paid 6,000, but what if they had paid 110 Rand? We would have still paid out the 5,000 Rand. But now they're coming at a later stage, and you know, we often have to have the discussion, can I make my policy paid up, or can I just, pay me out, or can I get a surrender value, or whatever the case may be. And then we have to go back to those clients, and actually in this we are actually supported even by the regulators when it comes to this, because it's an insurance principle, it's an industry norm. So this does not only happen to Metropolitan, but it happens throughout the industry, where it's about now going back to the basics, understanding insurance, understanding the policy that you have taken, and what exactly is it going to reap in the end, so that you're not faced where, okay, now you've lived 30 years, which is good, but now you've been paying this amount, which now is, much more than what you anticipated. So we actually get that quite a lot from our clients, and that's the education that we want to bring attention to those cases where that is basically with insurance. You are insuring the unknown. It could happen, it could not happen, but you want to be covered when it happens, or should it happen.
She's been talking fancy language, eh? Surrender value. Who's surrendering what? Are you being short? Surrender? No. Surrender value. Okay, let me explain that one. There's old generation policies and new generation, because Metropolitan's been there for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Many years, okay? So if you took out a policy in 1982 and you take out a policy in 2022, they are different, because the policies have changed over time depending on what people want. So now the old policies, usually they had a savings component. So the old policies, when you paid your premium here 300 Rand, part of that 300 would go to saving. So that policy would increase in value over time, which means that even you could surrender it at some point to say, I'm tired of this policy, give me back my money, okay? The new policies don't allow that. But another thing which Nazo has touched on is when you have a policy, make sure it keeps up with the times. That 10 Rand was a lot of money in 1982. So make sure when you talk to your financial advisor that your policy keeps up with inflation. So often you make it inflation linked, so that if I insure myself for 1 million Rand today and God forbid something happens to me in 15 years, I get the equivalent of 1 million Rand in 15 years at today's value. They call it the future value. So I'll do that calculation after we finish eating to show you that 1 million Rand, how much it will be worth in 15 years, so that we can see the difference. Because these are important numbers. Because often what happens is you go in for that value and you keep it. If anything, when you're sitting down with your financial planning person, let them explain sum assured. Okay, is this a maturity value? Is it an illustration, or is this guaranteed? Another word which they use, fancy word. Guaranteed means you are guaranteed. So some investments, the insurance company says, no matter what, you're going to get this. But obviously you pay a higher premium to get all the extras.
Another point, that I wanted to raise to our clients is we send out policy documents or your policy information standard on a yearly basis, right? And that's where we give you now a breakdown. Where are you sitting? How much are you paying? How much now? What is, if it's an interest related policy, what is the interest looking at? What is the breakdown of the value or the maturity value that you would get? So what happens is you get the statements, you put it in the drawer where all your letters all go, right? That envelope, you just look at it, you're like Metropolitan, and you're like, okay, it's fine. And that's what happens. But that's when you should inquire about your financial products on a yearly basis. When you, as an assess, because we also have now financial advisors who can, or financial planners who can say, these are the products that you now have. Let's take a look and see what you should be adding, what are our current products, and what can we do for you, to help you with this policy. And you can actually see, now you don't have to query it at claim stage. You query it now, you years away. You're saying, actually, this is before you pay the 6,000. Before you pay more than what you're going to receive. You can say, okay, this might not be, the right, product for me. And then Metropolitan is able to look and say, what else can we do for you? Or what other product can we give to you? So the responsibility is to go through those statements. And now, with Metropolitan, you're able to get your policy statement. You send us a chat or a message on WhatsApp, you get it within 2 minutes. You've got your policy details. So wherever you can go onto our website, it's easy to get your policy statement. You can call our call center as well, and you're able to get it, and you're able to get that breakdown. And if you don't understand, because as he said, sometimes there's insurance jargon, then give us a call, the call center, or then they can break down, this is actually what it means. Because now you're going to see those values you don't understand. You see like 1 million here, but then you're like, oh, I'm gonna get $1 million, but that's not exactly what is going to happen. So we are still there for that support to say, you can ask us at any time and say, I want a value breakdown, or I want somebody to actually explain the value breakdown. What am I seeing here in black and white? Can you explain it to me so that I understand?
Now, in order to start the year stronger, I always believe in my motto, which is numbers don't lie. Lindiwe can lie to me. Nomsa can lie to me. Numbers don't lie. A house in Sandton in 1994 could be bought for 100,000 rand. Now houses in Sandton are 10 million, 15 million rand.
Yes.
Because time has moved on.
Oh, time.
So I'm asking you, in 10 million rand, how much do you think a loaf of bread would be if a loaf of bread is 10 rand today in 10 years' time?
In 10 years' time?
Yes.
It will probably be, let's say, 120 rand.
Okay, not quite. But if a loaf of bread is 10 rand, if a loaf of bread is 10 rand today, in 10 years' time, it's going to be about 27 rand.
Never.
Okay.
So bread will be 27 rands.
In
Never.
10 years, if bread goes up by inflation, which is 10% now.
Yeah.
Okay. In 10 years' time, bread will be 27 rand. Okay. Or if you want big numbers, because I know some of you are big people, you know, in social media. Okay, R1 million will be 2.7 million rand in 10 years. In 20 years, when you want to retire, that same million rand, okay, in 20 years' time, it becomes 7 million.
Sure. That sounds
So
nice.
in 20 years' time, our 10 rand loaf of bread is now 73 rand. Okay? What you need to understand is inflation, which is the opposite of interest. Okay? So when you're investing, you're trying to beat inflation, which is the opposite of compounding, which happens when you invest. And let's say you do 30 years. Let's say you're really brave and you do it for 30 years. And our million rand in 30 years, future value becomes 19 million. 0.8. That's R1 million today. It's 19.8 million in 30 years, which explains why the house, which was R1 million 30 years ago, is now going for 19 million today because of inflation. And your bread example, your 10 rand loaf of bread is now 188 rand. 198 rand for a loaf of bread. And these are important numbers, because if you go to a financial planner or an advisor who doesn't understand this basic, you're going to have problems. Because you're going to say, I invested R1 million today, and then in 20 years' time, you go and you want to get, they give you R1 million, but R1 million then is now nothing, because the same buying power of that million is changed. It's now 7.3. So they need to link it to growth over time.
But what normally happens there, I've seen it with the local funeral undertakers, which they would say it's a policy, then it's underwritten by, you know, Metropolitan, you know. You put all your family members in there. Then they say if this one dies because it's a parent, you get 10,000 rand. This one dies, it's a child, you get 5,000 rand and all of that. But then 10 years down the line, one dies. You get 10,000 rand, but it doesn't even cover the coffin.
Sure.
It's the inflation link. It's important. So even with your funeral policy, make sure that it's linked to inflation. Because in 10 years' time, 10,000 rand, you can't even buy a coffin.
Does that come at an extra cost though? Because, I mean, if you're going to link it to inflation.
Okay. It comes at a marginal extra cost. It doesn't double the premium, but it is obviously a little bit more expensive. So this is also that culture of us realizing when we're buying an insurance or an assurance policy, stop going for the cheapest.
Yeah, true.
Stop being a cheapskate when it comes to your future. Because everything we're talking around this table is around your future. So you want to be cheap today and have an expensive future. It's not going to happen.
And I think, you know, now the thing is that not everyone now is going to have a calculator or even have access to somebody who's able to now calculate it. And the question is, how do we help that person? So one thing that has been a theme throughout our episodes is to, you know, educate yourself as the client. And when you are choosing, we have been saying that when you are choosing an insurance of any kind, you're choosing a partner. And that means you need to take your time so that you understand The one time where you can shop and shop and shop is with your insurance, where you need to shop around before you make that commitment, because it is a commitment to your insurance, and we commit to you and you commit to us as well.
And then people must understand ukuthi saving is it keeps your money safe. And it's investment, it multiplies. That's what you say. So ngicela ukubuza Lindy, do you have any of these products? Like maybe funeral cover nyana ekhaya, maybe investment, you know?
I have a funeral cover. Yes.
And then investment
for the family. Well, investment, life happened, and I had to withdraw from the investment, so I don't have it anymore.
So there's something that Gerald said. I don't know. Gerald, if I pay for maybe an investment company and then I stop paying, do they give me the money that I paid for the last 1 or 6 months?
I think that's a very important question. With investments, what you paid in, you get out. With insurance and assurance, what you paid in, you only get out when it happens. Okay? So if you stop paying your insurance policy, they won't give you a refund.
But we should have had this chat 10 years ago.
Like, Gerald, where have you been?
Like this guy, like really today? I need
It's
you in my
not too
life.
late to start.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
But then let's look at the types of people who do different jobs.
Yeah.
There's an Auntie Sbongile who works for you, for instance, in your household. She's got grandchildren that their parents could have probably died or maybe went away, one reason or the other. These are true people that we live with every day. Do they have a bracket where they fall in within this whole space, where they can say, for my grandchildren, I want to have 1, 2, 3. I can see that the young Dumisani, he's got skills. I mean, he can belong to the arts. Let me start saving up for him today so that in 10 years' time, when he turns 18, he can finish his matric and go into the arts sector.
Definitely we do. Speaking for Metropolitan, we definitely have, savings products for education and for different events or major life events that will occur. So definitely, and that's actually most part of, or not most, but it does make up a lot of our clientele as well. Because, Metropolitan is a well-established old company that's been in South Africa for quite some time. We go deep rural, KZN, Limpopo, and Eastern Cape. And we always make sure that we have people that actually go into those areas, that actually go and simplify things for that particular clientele of ours. So we definitely do cater for it, and the options are definitely there. Because the thing is, we assume that you need so much money. Just like you're saying, it's too late to start. It's not. You start with 10 Rand. And you start with 50 Rand. We've got policies where you can start paying a savings plan for 50 Rand. So it's not that you need to have 1,000 Rand or so much money where you start investing or where you start saving. It's with the little that you have, and then we work around it to help you get to your goal.
I actually like what you said with regards to having a plan for education that starts from 50 Rand going upwards, because now we have this mindset with these kind of policies are policies for rich people, people who can afford. So people are not educated. So I like when she mentioned that they actually go to the rural areas to educate people with such, because I'm a gogobe to think, if I put my 50 Rand under my mattress, it's gonna work for me in the next 10 or 15 years for my grandson. So it actually makes it better because it's insightful. Because I, for one, I'm not in a financial sector, and I always say to my boss, my previous boss, if you want me to bankrupt your company, give me a financial position, because definitely it will go down, because I'm worse when it comes to numbers. Sorry, Gerald, but I am. So, but me sitting around the table and hearing these things, it's actually scary, and I'm thinking, what have I been doing for the past 10 years?
Okay, you talk to people on YouTube, the youth who chose to do math light instead of the real maths. How comfortable are the youth who do math lit?
They're throwing shade.
Versus with numbers. In fact, generally, how comfortable are we all with numbers? Because obviously for me it's easy or easier, but how comfortable are we with numbers? Are numbers the reason why we don't invest? Are numbers the reason why we don't take out policies?
Look, I mean, I'm an engineer, so obviously I'm pretty good at maths. But even for me, these financial numbers can seem intimidating. These policies seem very serious, very intimidating. Like she said, you often think you need to be rich before you can get involved.
Yes.
But, you know, I saw the feeling of regret that you had of, I should have started long ago. But imagine if you never had this conversation and another 10 years passed. And so what I want us to take away is, it's not too late to start learning about these things. You can start now with the little that you have, whatever age that you're at, because you learned this information today. 10 years could have gone by without you having known these numbers and this conversation. So yes, numbers definitely seem intimidating, but I think when it comes to our money, our finances, our future, let's just start a little bit. You know, you don't have to take 10 different policies. Now you feel like you have to have absolutely everything under the sun. Start with the one policy that you understand. We spoke the other day about taking up things that you actually understand. So start with just one, you know.
So, Nyazi Gutu Gerald wants food. Chef Lins, what's on the menu?
What's on the menu?
Yes, yeah.
So today, guys, we're talking a lot about the words compound and investment and, you know, basically...
Some assured.
Some assured.
Yes.
Basically taking time or putting time to yield you a better fortune later. Correct, Gerald? You know, so like with food as well, there's some meals where you cook the day before or you put so much time into them so that they can taste better. And a curry is just one of those meals, right? Right? A curry the next day is the best, like, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So today we're having lamb curry. I hope we all eat lamb. Are we all good at lamb? But if we don't eat lamb, we've also got a lentil curry as well. So it's lamb curry with all the trimmings. There's raita, there's poppadoms, there's acha, there's konke zonke wena. You're gonna feast. Okay.
Does it mean then we are assured?
Yeah. Well, no, this is an assured meal. Assured meal.
Do you like it?
It's very nice.
This is proper.
Okay, guys, we had a great discussion. Lindiwe, Nutemba, out of all this discussion yet, what is it that what stood out for you?
You know, after this, I actually have a homework that I need to go home and check my policies and understand what it entails, and that I need to check if it correlates with the inflation rate, and that it's never too late to actually save for your kids, your family, and yeah.
Apart from the good food, good company, I think I'm taking quite a lot. Not that I think, actually. I know that from today, this has changed my life. My financial perspective has already been changed. The things that each one of you guys spoke about, like the regret factor, that in the savings world, in the financial world, it's never too late to start. The regret doesn't work. Just get onto it. You don't need to have millions to start today. Start now. All of that, because like Linda said earlier on, this perception that we always thought, you must be a rich body to have 1, 2, 3, and to start planning for your children's future, even for yourself. I mean, but now from now on, I've learned that, and I can safely say, drop me your business card.
Yes.
We are more than happy.
And it's worth it. It's worth the time. It's worth the energy. It's worth the moment. It's worth the company and everything. And if you can look at how we lived in Abani, we always live for the moment, for the now. You know, the future will take care of itself. I think this will dispel all of that. You know, that's the mentality that we have in the townships, to say, mamela ke kholahlwe esigangeni nami bazobona baphuma kanjani, you know, ingosi zami ngeke zilambe ehlathini bakhona, all of that. So I think it has to start from now on, not only for me, but for a whole lot of people who need this help.
I think that is why we're having these episodes, you know, for people who are always on their phone, you know, checking out what's happening, you know, Gumzansi. But now they have an opportunity to go and visit the Metropolitan website and see these episodes and learn from it, you know, from, remember, the debit order, you know, the claims, and now we're doing some insured. So everything is just wrapped up in one. And I am sure, I can't wait to hear what the experts have to take home, you know, your take homes. Yeah, Gerald, I'm sure it's set. 7 pages.
Oh, wow. 7 pages.
Okay, but no, let's go to the lounge because we're going to have our cake and tea. Thank you very much.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So what we have for you for dessert today is a celebration cake. I think it was a good way to end the series. And today we're talking about insurance. We were talking about taking something, putting it into, investing a lot of work into it and seeing the end result. So when you're doing a cake like this, each layer must be done exactly the same, and the recipe must be followed exactly as it is. So anything wrong, too much of this, too much of that, everyone knows if you've done pastry before, you know, too much of this, too much of that, and the whole thing just doesn't work out. So it's investing a lot of time into having a really good result come out. I think the cake came out pretty good. So enjoy with your Rooibos tea.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chef Pizzi. Definitely, we're going to enjoy our rainbow cake. Yeah, Pela, you've got a colorful host, so I must give you colorful cake. And obviously, our topics were very colorful. Let's go back to the first episode. We spoke about the debit order, debits and deductions. Remember? Yeah. And then on the second day, we spoke about the claims, isn't it? Yeah. And today we spoke about the sum assured. So wrapping up everything, my beautiful experts. Phela Themba, now we're lindiwe. Fanele nilalele phela because the experts are about to wrap up their top topics.
I really enjoyed these sessions. I learned so much. I mean, I know you guys are calling me an expert, but for me, I just learned so much. On the first day about debit orders, this thing of us as consumers not, playing our part, and then we want to come back and blame, and I think it just was insightful to me to understand that it's a two-way relationship. We learned on the first day about how choosing your insurer is like choosing a life partner or a business partner or whatever, however you said it. And that it's very important to make sure you do your homework, shop around. For me, I really think that sometimes you just want to get it over and done with. I need a quick policy, I need this. And just to take your time, don't rush, but take your time. Yesterday with the claims, what I took away was the fact that these companies like Metropolitan and other major insurers, they want to pay, but we've got to also, again, play our part. Make sure you updating your details regularly. Any changes, all of those things we spoke about. And yeah, I think the major thing is not to always also play the blame game. Yes, we can hold them accountable. Yes, we can ask questions. Yes, we can. But what I really like is the fact that they're on our side, and they want to hear from us. One thing that really stood out for me that I love so much is how the digitalization with Metropolitan, and they want to make it easy for us to contact them and communicate them. And my absolutely favorite feature is the fact that you can just pop them a WhatsApp message. You WhatsApp them, send them a message, and ask, shop around, take our time to make these decisions. So that's for me the major takeaways that I learned from this.
When we wanted to have this conversation, we thought, let us take the sore points. We won't cover anything, but much like the cake that is here, we take a little bit of everything because we can't cover the whole insurance industry. We can't cover everything, in a matter of a couple of days. So we said, let's take a little bit of everything. The little bit that we can do, we think that we can, we can encourage and we can grow people out there, and they can have better knowledge when it comes to insurance and the products that they have. So it's very important. Let's each one to teach one. Literally, our motto at Metropolitan is that together we can. Together, and that's it. So that is the crux of everything, that together we can, not just for our clients, but for South Africa. So together we can actually become financially independent. We can become financially stronger, not just for 2022, but for each and every year and so forth. And we can pass it down and keep learning. Our conversations that we were having, they were so juicy, they were so educational, so many questions that should be directed to the insurance industry, things that we should be doing better, hearing from you guys in terms of your experiences, our clients, how can we do better? We're definitely taking those home. And this was not to say now we're here to cover our bases and say we are perfect, we are not at fault. There's definitely a room for us to improve as insurers. There's place, and we want to know that. We want to hear from you, because as I said, together we can definitely get better, and we as well as Metropolitan, we can definitely get stronger. So you are right, we were rated by the Sexy survey #1 in the country in terms of customer services. So we care about our client. It's the different ways about how can we do better. We already said, okay, we give you the service, but now we want to dig deeper. We want to dig deeper and say, what else? How can we do better for you? We know that we're good there, but how can we do better for our clients?
Safika mabhozi. Safika kula bhuti wesutu. Samazi ke. Summer up, Mr. Gerald, Mr. G. Your take home.
My take home is quite simple. The industry and money and finance is all about numbers. You spoke about Kenzo, you spoke about Lutando, and how you love your children, and how time is working for you and working against you in terms of preparing for their future. Now, when it comes to finances, it's all about understanding the numbers. Numbers don't lie, which is why I've got my trusty friend here, our favorite calculator. And essentially all I'm doing is I'm going to illustrate something.
Yes.
All of us pretty much remember the 2010 World Cup, right? Do we? It was, when Philip was here.
Oh,
yes. Okay. That was basically 132 months ago. So let's think about it. If you had been saving 100 Rand every month since the World Cup, that works out to 25,000.